My name is Gautam Raghavan. I work here in the Office of Public Engagement as the liaison to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, as well as the Asian American Pacific Islander community. And we are so glad to have you here for this really exciting event that we've been looking forward to for a very long time. And I just want to thank, first of all, our partners in crime, SAGE and StoryCorps, as our work is about hearing from the American people, from every community around this country that has something that they have to share, that has challenges or opportunities. And so we love the work that we do, and so much of it is about hearing directly from people about their stories.
StoryCorps is also a social justice organization, and we make sure that half of our interview spots go to people from underrepresented communities. And we're thrilled to be partnering with SAGE on our Out Loud initiative to make sure that the voices of the LGBTQ Americans find a home in our archive and in other areas of our work.
My current position is ED at Damien Ministries. We try to reach out to churches to get them to understand HIV and AIDS, and to get them to open their doors to educate their congregations about HIV and AIDS. There's a lot of denial, specifically with black churches that we work with. But I do want to add that a lot of churches have been supportive from the beginning. But we still have pockets of where churches try to hold the line and not be open to any changes, or not even recognize that HIV and AIDS really exists.
I grew up in a very religious household, and even though I don't live with my family anymore, I'm still, well, now I'm spiritual. But I jokingly say that my mom checks in with me twice a month to find out if I'm still gay, because she's still praying the gay away. And, you know, she'll tell me about miracles that happen and all of that good stuff that God does. So yeah, that's, I mean, she's come a very long way now, and she'll ask me about girls. And one time I asked her why she cares who I'm dating, and she said, at the end of the day, you'll still be my daughter, but are you still gay? The answer is yes.
Well, I think probably the biggest thing is if you see things that aren't right, that aren't fair, you just need to do what you can do to make them change. And people say, well, what can I do? And even for the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, some people did some really big things, but it took a lot of people doing a lot of little things, and coming out to their neighbors or their their cousins or their family or their shipmates or whatever. And it really, it's sort of a combined effort. So I think if there's an issue that isn't fair, then you need to add your voice to the conversation.
Learning to live with yourself sounds like an overused cliche, but it is really, really important. It took me so long to essentially forgive and accept that I could be transgender, that I'm not crazy, that there are all these other people who are clearly transgender, but I'm not one of them. And as the world, so to speak, has been getting so much more understanding and open, I'm just excited to see that people can really, bring their internal selves out more. And that's something that I think people need to realize as they're getting older. And I should have realized earlier, is that there are a lot of allies and possibility models out there for me that I could look up to and can depend upon. And I'm glad now that people are starting to realize that more and more.
SAGE would like to express our tremendous gratitude to the White House, to StoryCorps, and to our esteemed panelists for this remarkable event this afternoon. In many ways, we're still convincing the world to make sense of all of our realities, that we deserve fairness, equality of life, and unique supports. And the stories that emerge through each other, they are personal, they are raw, they are persistent. We heard these stories in the clips. They help change the world that we're creating. LGBT people, our allies, and our possibility models have consistently tapped their courage to create communities based on our values and to imagine solutions that transform our tiny worlds in unprecedented ways. And this event speaks to all that remains to be done to protect our relationships, including our spouses, our partners, our children, and our families of choice, to erase violence and discrimination in our daily lives, in the workplace and everywhere under the law, to improve our health, our housing, and our economic security, to honor the complexities of our sexualities, our gender identities and expressions, to pursue racial and economic justice, address racism within our communities and in the structures outside of our communities, and to remove the age-related and disability-related biases and barriers that can target us as youth and as older people. In every town and city, in every state at the federal level and worldwide, we have so much to build upon. The story is unfolding, and it's panoramic.